I'm Jonathan Goldstein, and you're listening to Wiretap on CBC Radio 1 and Sirius XM. Today's episode, All in Your Head.
My name is Carlisle Smith. I am director of the Trent University Sleep Research Laboratories.
Dr. Carlisle Smith has been studying dreams for 30 years and was curious to see if he could connect people directly through their minds, their unconscious, dreaming minds, or actually see if people's minds are already connected in ways we're not even aware of. In 2013, Dr. Smith organized a study where he asked his third-year students to dream about a complete stranger to see if they could learn actual facts about that stranger, all through their dreaming minds. He began by showing the students a photo of the stranger. He then told them that the person had a health problem. And that was it. He didn't tell them what the illness was. The following week, he gathered the students' dreams to see if anyone had somehow been able to intuit what was ailing the stranger in the photograph. I asked Dr. Smith to share some of the dreams the students had, and so he got out his notebook.
Here's a dream. I was in a farmhouse atop a hill. The sky looked like there was a storm coming. I went to the kitchen and a woman was looking at me with a blank expression on her face. There was a knife in her right breast. There was no blood. All of a sudden I was in the hospital with the woman next to me on the bed. The doctor says the knife cannot come out because it would cause extreme bleeding. The doctor then says they could cut around the knife. The woman agreed.
It turns out the woman's illness was, in fact, breast cancer of the right breast.
Here's one. A lady enters a building. She reaches for money hanging on the ceiling, but her arm smokes and starts to turn black. Smoke spreads through her body. It's like a black plague eating her. As she panics, someone approaches and does some kind of procedure with no tools or knife. Just pulls something from her chest. The blackness leaves her body. She cries and thanks the stranger. Now, in fact, she did have an operation. She is better. This is the kind of dream that we saw. And the intensity of these dreams was such that some of the kids were actually, they woke up crying and things like that. They kind of felt that they weren't dreams about themselves. They were dreams about this person. So I don't think it's a coincidence. They actually dreamt some precise details about this woman's breast cancer.
In all, Dr. Smith found that 8 of the 12 dreams his students reported in some way alluded to the nature of the stranger's illness. After publishing his study, Dr. Smith was contacted by a number of scientists who found the experiment interesting, though they'd never say so publicly. And when I ask him why, he says that there's a long history of the word paranormal making people uneasy. We might be reluctant to accept what we can't fully understand, but maybe we're also resistant to the idea that the borders between minds are amorphous. Maybe it just feels safer to think that we have this space where we can truly be alone with our private thoughts, the very best of them, and the very worst.
So have you ever not wanted to go to SeaWorld because you're worried if you're left alone with a starfish, you might try to kiss its poop hole?
This is comedian Miria Bamford. She makes a living sharing the absurd thoughts that go through her head. But for a long time, she was afraid of sharing the contents of her mind with the world. That's because she has a form of OCD called Unwanted Thought Syndrome. Miria explains.
Most people know OCD as where you need to wash your hands because you're unclean in some ways, or, if somebody's switching the light bulbs off and on and wanting to keep things all in a row, or, but this type of OCD is all thought-related. So if you have a weird thought that goes through your head, like, oh, my cat looks sexy, most people would just kind of let that thought kind of ride through their brain because oh, that's weird, and then they'd move on with their day. And with this type of OCD, you grab onto it, get worried that you are actually going to act out on whatever that thought is, whether it's, something sexual or violent. So then you start avoiding whatever it is that brought up that thought, whether it's contact with other people or you start doing some sort of compulsion to get the thought to go away. For me, that was I would grip my fists and close my eyes.
Could you give some examples of some of the unwanted thoughts that you've had?
Chop somebody up into chunks and bits, have sex with the chunks and bits, put the chunks and bits into a Cobb salad and feed it to my parents. I mean, however weird you want to get to it, the human mind, or at least my mind, is very imaginative. Like, what's the most horrible thing? And when I was around 10 years old, I started having a fear that I would act out violently towards my family or friends. I wouldn't go near knife drawers, and I started to kind of isolate myself in general so nobody can see my thoughts. And it's not rational. It's not like, well, Miria, you've never even punched somebody, you've never touched anybody, you've never, you've never acted out in any way towards someone. How do you think that would be possible, that you have to sit on your hands so that you don't kill your family? Well, yeah, it's not rational. It's not a rational thing. But that's the whole taboo that the OCD revolves around. Is like, oh, you can't tell anybody about these thoughts. So, they become more and more powerful. I think I still feel really ashamed of these troubling thoughts. But the only way you can get help is if you can talk about it, Like, all the power of the thought is sort of taken away. I think it's just good to be able to tell somebody about it. I mean, why else are we on the planet except to be with each other? And life is short, so, even if people think I'm a weirdo, it's like, well, who cares? Who cares? We're all about the same amount of screwed up in our own special ways.
I was probably in my early teens when I first started thinking about what other people were thinking. The idea that other people had thoughts, just as I did, was new to me. It was so obvious, of course, but to fully contemplate it filled me with awe and wonder. "What's your experience of the color green?" I remember asking my mother. It had occurred to me that day that what I called green and she called green might be two totally different experiences. The unknowableness of other people's thoughts struck me while watching music videos with my father. I adored them and thought Madonna's Papa Don't Preach was touched by genius. But what was it like for my father? Unlike me, was he on the father's side? Did he think that the Papa had every right to preach? I watched him as he watched the TV, all the while wondering, what is in his head? Now, at 45, I think I have a pretty good idea of what he was thinking. It was probably something along the lines of, I don't understand anything anymore. Because that was pretty much my thought just the other day as I watched Katy Perry perform during the Super Bowl halftime show. As a teenager, I liked talking to older people, trying to figure out what it felt like to be old, the actual feeling of it. Because even as a kid, aging felt like it was sneaking up on me. Suddenly 15 when I thought 12 would last forever. At 16, wondering, how old was Jimi Hendrix when he was declared a genius? And I can't even play Camptown Races on my recorder. At 23, I thought, what a weird age to be. 19 was cleaner somehow, had more songs celebrating it. At 24, I couldn't imagine what it would feel like to be 29, so close to 30, contaminated by 30. And then I was 32, and pining for those late 20s. At 35, I thought, this has got to be it. How much more aging can a person take? And then I was 37, and believed myself firmly in the domain of the absurd. 37 is like juggling eggplants with pants around your ankles. And then the years got cramped together, small and quick like cockroaches. 39, 40, 41, and 42. 43. Even the word itself sounded stupid. 43. Did everyone feel this way? I wanted to know, to find companionship and draw wisdom from the experiences of others, to escape my own mind and visit someone else's. And so I turned to books, becoming a voracious reader, and that eventually led to writing. Words create bridges between minds, and bridges can make you feel less isolated. But bridges can only go so far. We're all mysteries to one another, living in our own heads, occasionally popping out, trying to connect, failing, taking comfort in the act of trying, in trying to build bridges, and knowing, too, that the bridges that lead outward also lead back to us, that it's not only a matter of relating to the world, but also the world relating to us.
In my head, I'm beautiful, but the world sees me as fat.
In my head, I'm a perfectionist, but the world sees me as controlling.
In my head, I'm a comedian, but the world sees me as an asshole.
In my head, I'm a badass, but the world sees me as a tiny, harmless little thing.
In my head, I'm the musician whose calling card is his confessional, thought-out lyrics. But the world sees me as the barista, supplying it with its morning caffeine fix.
In my head, I'm human, but the world sees me as an oddity.
In my head, I'm as hot as when I was a teenager, but the world sees me as a frumpy 47-year-old.
In my head, I'm the next great world leader, but the world sees me as a lonely high school student.
I have some good news for you.
Oh, hey, Gregor.
You are in line, my friend, to receive the Royal Order of Canada.
What?
It's kind of a big deal.
When did this happen?
Just got off the phone.
I can't...
I negotiated the deal.
I can't believe... What do you mean you negotiated the deal?
You are going to be the spokesmodel for a new cologne called the Royal Odor of Canada. You're getting it.
Wait, hang on a second. You just said I got the Royal Order of Canada.
No, you misheard me. That's my accent. The Royal Odor of Canada. It's eau de toilette.
You just called me and told me that I got the Royal Order of Canada.
Well, are you out of your mind? What do you want, the Nobel Prize?
No,
The MacArthur Genius Grant? You want one of those too? What do you want, a sash from the French? Named to the Legion of Honor? The Royal Order of Canada is for heroes.
I'm not saying that I deserve it. I'm saying that's what you said.
No sane person would think that they're suddenly going to get a Medal of Honor from their government.
I didn't think that. You said it.
No, you hear what you want to hear.
We're having this conversation from my studio. I've recorded it. I could rewind it and play it to you.
Oh, now you think someone's recording your phone calls? Classic paranoid behavior.
No, I'm just saying...
Have you been visited by UFOs? Probed recently?
Look, I didn't make this up. You said it to me.
What else did I say to you, Johnny? Did I promise you a tiger with a diamond-studded collar made of real diamonds and a two-tiered cake 2 stories high?
I'm not crazy.
You know what the first test when they put you in the straitjacket and bring you to the sanitarium is?
What's that?
They say, are you crazy? And if the person says they're not crazy, then they just open the doors to the asylum and they let them out. And they're like, oh, sorry for the misunderstanding, sir. We thought you were crazy. You have narcissistic personality disorder.
Okay, I think I have a fine grip on reality.
You're cuckoo. Now, can we get back on track? You are going to be the face of an odor, a new odor called the Odor of Canada. Do you understand me so far?
Why would they want me to be a spokesmodel?
Maybe because they want a new cologne that caters to middle-aged bald men who want to smell like a country. In this case, the slumbering giant to America's north.
What does it mean to smell like a country?
I don't know. It smells like Canadian things. It smells like the vice-regal consort. How should I know? It smells like Canadian bacon and maple syrup.
Delicious.
Alpine vistas and the musk of Mounties. The zest of the fisheries of Newfoundland. Canada, my friend. The Royal Odor of Canada.
I don't know that people are going to want to smell like that.
How dare you? That is treasonous.
To say that I wouldn't want to smell like a fishery.
The people who work in the fisheries industry are proud to smell like fish.
Well, I'm not.
How dare you, sir? You can fish for a living. At least you're doing honest work with your life, not holding forth in your snide, snarky way, talking out of the corner of your mouth, going bald. And how dare you go bald?
All right, let's just consider this for a moment, okay? Why would I want to represent this cologne?
Money?
How much?
I'm going to write down a number on a piece of paper, and I'm going to slide it across the table, and you tell me what you think.
We're on the telephone.
I'm writing it down right now.
I can't see what you're writing.
Wait, you can't see me? Oh, no, wait. I thought we were FaceTiming because I'm looking at my compost pile.
I see.
I was thinking it was you. Isn't that funny, Johnny?
Yeah,
How
that's
you get
hilarious.
confused and you think you're looking at Johnny,
right.
but it's really just compost.
Okay.
But you do look like compost. Anyway, your greediness makes me sad. Since when do you care about money?
Oh, I'm sorry. Look, I don't know that I want to attach my likeness to some kind of product that I don't even know anything about.
Actually, nobody's going to know it's you. So just relax.
What is that supposed to mean?
It means you'll be in a moose costume. The backside of a moose costume.
The backside?
Where does this grandiosity come from? You thought you were going to be the front of the moose costume?
Oh, yeah, excuse me. I'm sorry. You said I was going to be the spokesmodel.
Spokesmoose. I said spokesmoose. You're going to be the crucial back half.
You said spokesmodel.
There's that narcissism, that arrogance. I'm going to be the front of the moose. I'm too good to be the back of the moose. Look at me, everybody. I'm the front of a moose.
I think I am.
It takes years.
No.
You don't just walk into the front of a moose costume, Johnny. You apprentice. You work as the under moose for a while. You work with other meese. You're a backstage meese.
Meese is not the plural of moose.
Think of the moose as a table. It needs 4 legs to stand up. It's not a bipedal moose, Johnny. Quadruped. I don't think your ego is going to fit into this moose costume.
In her short story, The Man Who Wrote Books in His Head, Patricia Highsmith relates the tale of a man who, over the course of his life, writes 14 novels, though all of them are in his head. He has the regular work routine of a writer, spending hours seated at his desk, but never does he actually commit a single word to paper. So confident is he in how perfect his books are that the act of actually writing them just seems redundant. The man, of course, is doomed to a life of absurdity and irrelevance, because, after all, if you're in possession of a special talent, it's not enough to keep it all to yourself. You've a responsibility to share it with the world.
John.
Howard?
Hi.
Why are you whispering?
I appreciate if you can whisper too, if you don't mind.
Why should I whisper?
As a broadcaster, you have a very powerful voice. It's radiophonic.
Right.
You may be not aware of it, but it's very affecting to us lay people.
Okay.
And it echoes out of the telephone. So just...
All right. Why are you whispering?
Oh, you know what? I'm just going to step out into the hallway so I can talk.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Wait. Hang on one second. I'm just going to tiptoe out of here. Whoa. Sorry, Mrs. Stroni. Okay. You're doing great. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just close the door. Okay, thanks. Now we can talk normally.
Yes, we could be normal now.
Yes, now we can talk.
What is going on in your apartment, Howard?
You know me pretty well.
Fairly well.
What would you say is my greatest talent? Slow down, please. You're listening to so many things. I can't keep up with you.
I don't know, Howard. I mean, eating a lot of things at a buffet situation.
Everyone knows I'm very special in that field. My mom always said you're such a good eater. That is a talent.
You're pretty good at Sudokus.
Sudoku?
Sudokus?
Sudoku? I've never been on one of those things. Sudoku.
What about, you've always been a real good eater.
You've already said that. You said I'm good at buffets.
Right.
Come on, here's something I'm really good at. Sleeping. It's sleeping. That was the answer. Thank you.
That is true. You are a very good sleeper.
Now, the secret to being a good sleeper is not overthinking things. You have to keep your mind blank. See? That's my mind. I'm very good at that. Have no thoughts. Purge your thoughts.
No, but the moment you think about not thinking about something, then thoughts enter your head. You know what I mean?
You can't think about thinking.
Yeah, but don't you find, like, the moment you tell yourself not to think, that's when you start thinking?
You don't tell yourself not to think. You just don't think. You breathe, you exist, you be, you sleep.
That is kind of deep.
Like a deep sleep. Nobody doesn't think better than me, John. I'm the best no-thinker that there is. And I've decided to share my gift, and I'm teaching people how to sleep.
So wait a second. So you have people in your apartment that are sleeping?
I have a sleep clinic / lab.
Mm-hmm.
These are people, they have insomnia, they have a lot of stress, and I show them, I guide them.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider myself a master of sleep.
Okay.
Maybe a red belt.
Who would you consider a black belt?
The dead are black belts. I had to work hard, really hard, make a lot of sacrifice in order to...
What were some of the sacrifices?
A job and sunlight.
Uh-huh.
In the sleep world, in the sleep realm, I am the boss. I reign supreme. I am the king.
So what do you have, like a living room full of cots?
I just kind of make do. That's part of the philosophy. Is you're not always going to have a cot ready.
So you didn't even invest in cots, is what you're saying.
People have to nap where they nap.
So where are these people sleeping?
I have them. Well, people are laid out. There's Mr. Ali. I have him on the sofa.
Mm-hmm.
And I got Mrs. Vanzetti, and she's in the bathtub.
In the bathtub.
I make it nice.
How do you make it nice?
I put a sheet and a pillow. Mr. Lachativsky, I have him at my work desk.
Why do you have a work desk?
I found it in the street and I ate breakfast on it. But now I have a man sleeping on it, and it is a work desk. So that's my work now, because I have a sleep clinic.
Uh-huh, right. You have a sleep clinic. So you've got an apartment full of sleeping people, and how do you pass on your knowledge?
Well, first we have a little kind of meet and greet.
Mm-hmm.
I serve some tea. I mean, everybody has different needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, Mr. Asselin, he likes his hair stroked when he's sleeping. So I'll go there and I'll just stroke his hair a little bit.
He's asked you to do that?
Yeah, well, this is what we discuss. We sit, there's a meet and greet, we sit, we talk, I say, what do you like when you sleep? What's keeping you from sleeping? So I have Mrs. Vanzetti, right? That's the one that's in the bathtub?
Right.
Okay, she likes a lullaby.
In your bathtub?
She's in my bathtub. I'm in the bathroom. I sit on the toilet with the lid down. Thank you very much. And then you got Mr. Lachativsky. That's a guy who needs to kind of be bossed into sleep. You're going to have to kind of bully him. So I put him to bed, and then every 5-10 minutes I go, are you sleeping? You better be sleeping, mister. I'm telling you right now, I'm coming in there.
That sounds very soothing.
Yeah, then I open the door and I see he's actually reading column books under the blanket with a flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to get it. Now, between me and you, obviously I'm not going to do anything. He's a grown man. If I touch him, I go to jail. But then about maybe half an hour I go back in. Sure enough, he's out cold.
Right.
So there's Mr. Kazantzidis, for example. That guy, he needs a bedtime story. Yeah.
And
not Sleeping Beauty and stuff. I tell him, no, he's a grown man. Like, for example, if I was telling you a story, if you needed sleep, I would tell you that once there was a little man named John Goldstein, and he was looking for this magic foot ointment that if you rubbed that foot ointment into his bald scalp, hair would grow.
Okay.
I'm doing good work.
It sounds like it.
And people... hang on one second. Oh, yes, people are stirring. I think the tea is wearing off.
What do you mean? What do you mean the tea's wearing off?
There's a relaxation tea that everyone has before we attempt sleep.
Uh-huh.
My special sleep tea. It's part of the program.
What do you put in the tea?
Mint, and there's chamomile, NyQuil, sleeping pills, and a cinnamon stick. And
wait, hang on. Back up for a second. Howard, you're putting sleeping pills in there?
Just to kickstart it, and the NyQuil is just to take the edge off the chamomile.
Howard, I can't believe you have an apartment full of drugged people.
They're not drugged. These are people. They're sleeping.
Howard,
they're refreshed, and they're happy and they're appreciative. That's what I provide. I got to get back in there because they're knocking things over.
What?
When they wake up, they're really disoriented. They don't know where they are, and they just kind of wander around like The Walking Dead. Hey, one second. Let me just. Okay, sleepyheads, I'll be right in. Hang on. I gotta go. I gotta get some coffee on the griddle. I have a special coffee wake-up brew.
Oh, do you?
Sumatra coffee.
Uh-huh.
A little bit of cocoa powder, hyperquench, and some caffeine pills, too. But that's just a boost.
Howard, you're turning these people into drug addicts.
I'm just following the pattern of nature.
No one's taking drugs in nature.
What about all those cocaine monkeys?
You just made that up.
No, it's a real sect of monkeys, and they're really into coke. Yeah, you don't watch nature shows, so you don't know about this stuff. You just don't follow this. Hang on. Watch out, Mr. Roney. Watch out, Mr. The stove is hot, because I got the coffee brewing.
On Wiretap today, you heard Dr. Carlisle Smith, author of Heads Up Dreaming, How Your Dreams Can Predict Your Future and Change Your Life. and Miria Bamford, whose comedy special, The Special Special Special, is available in iTunes and on Netflix. You also heard Gregor Ehrlich and Howard Chakowitz. Thanks to our Facebook fans for writing in with their thoughts on how the world sees them, and to the men and women of CBC Montreal for reading them. Wiretap is produced by Mira Birdwin-Tonic, Crystal Duhame, and me, Jonathan Goldstein. Tune into Wiretap Saturdays at 3:30 and Thursday evenings at 11:30. Subscribe to the podcast at cbc.ca/wiretap, where you can also download the latest Wiretap ringtone.
How dare you go bald?
Gratuitous outrage with every ring of your phone.